The paper trail. Let's go, 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 go. Yeah. For the love of money, some stay around. For the love of money, money in the world do for the love of the money. Yeah. I gotta shake it 12 at night to 5 in the morning. They don't give a fuck though. If it's for the money, niggas gon' bark and they bite like a motherfucking dog. Gotta party like a motherfucking dog. For that cat, I am gon' roof and I'm barking. I'm sipping on that purple. I nigga been cheapin' on that purple. Cause I'm getting money, I'm getting money. Cause I'm getting money. And I'm laughing all the way to the motherfucking end when I'm thinking, damn me getting money. I walk about the bank. And I stuck up in the wheel, headed to my next big destination. Somewhere where I'm gonna be faded, sipping on a motherfucking Molotov, feet in the fucking sand.
And we have to understand the psychology of these major players, people out. It's these individuals that must play the game, and they're going to play the game that maximizes their best interests. And if we see the world that way, then I think it makes much more sense. I've been using game theory analysis to understand geopolitics, and it's turned out pretty well. Most recently, I was on some chart in Venezuela. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Looking from a game theory perspective, what Trump is doing doesn't really make any sense, because a lot of people were saying he wants it for the oil. Well, if he wants the oil, he can just buy the oil. And that's what's happening right now, where Delcy Rodriguez, the new president of Venezuela, is issuing new laws that make it much easier for private ownership of Venezuela's oil sector. He could have done that doing it because I didn't have enough information to work with. I just knew the standard geopolitical explanation that he wants the oil doesn't really make sense. And then what happened, of course, was that Maduro was kidnapped. This is happening. The answer is, first of all, Maduro must be a CIA asset, with the cooperation of those inside. The idea that Delcy Rodriguez, the vice president, betrayed Maduro is just ridiculous, because Maduro was in power for 13 years. He has a political sense. He may not know geopolitics or mathematics, but in terms of political survival and game theory, he understands a lot. I don't think anyone betrayed him. I think that he was always a CIA asset, because he had to be in order to survive that long. If he were not, they would have assassinated him a long time ago. He had Cuban bodyguards, and basically they were there to keep him in place. Delta Force went in to extricate him from the situation. The deal is that Maduro will be put on trial. He's going to say two things. The first is that Venezuela arrest him for narco trafficking. Is that he has evidence that the Democrats stole the 2020 election using Smartmatic machines. He's going to explain how it's possible to rig Smartmatic machines and prove that the Democrats did.
So my guy is telling us right here, right now, Maduro or Saddam Hussein, whichever character he's playing right now, we know he's playing Maduro, which he is Saddam Hussein. You can call it a conspiracy theory, but remember we threw that shit in the trash. I can say what I want to say. Yeah. You got some of these cats around here snatching up kids and shit. No, nigga, I can say what the fuck I want to say. No. You go get that nigga. Go get that nigga that been terrorizing the government and also making it harder for us. You go get those niggas. I'm putting a halt to all gang banging until you motherfuckers bring me the real Jeffrey Epstein head. No more gang banging. You niggas is pointing your motherfucking firecracker at the wrong motherfuckers. I'm gonna need you to stop playing in these streets right now. We need to start playing in these office buildings and shit. What are you doing? Huh? They didn't gain so much intel on you. You don't want no intel on them. You know niggas watching you, right? People are watching you while you not watching them. Cause you too busy watching the people on your block. You know this world is big, right? Look at here. Yeah. I'm banning all gang banging until we get the head of the real Jeffrey Epstein. Matter of fact, we need to stick a stake in this motherfucker's heart to verify. I got the garlic. You know what? Now let's that nigga bring me $100 million. I leave the garlic at the crib. Yeah, but you see, this is a whole show here, and Maduro / Saddam Hussein is part of this whole big shenanigan play. Just want you guys to see what's going on here. You really didn't go down there to kidnap him and snatch him up. No. Proxy. Everybody say it with me. 1, 2, 3. Proxy. Yeah. Great. That sounded magnificent.
Two things. The first is that Venezuela participates in drug smuggling, and therefore Americans were right to arrest him for narco trafficking. This was a legitimate pretext. And the second, most importantly, is that he has evidence that the Democrats stole the 2020 election using Smartmatic machines. He's going to explain an agreement was already in place. This is a prediction I make, and we'll see in a month or two whether it holds out. But again, this is game theory analysis applied to geopolitics. What does Trump want and what does Maduro want? Trump wants to overturn the 2020 election and get a third term. If he's able to prove to the American people that the Democrats stole the 2020 election,
Say what? Say huh? Say what? Huh? Anybody remember that time Trump said he's going to be the last president? Maybe he didn't say that. Maybe he didn't say that. Maybe the tabloids and the propagandists
made those statements. But somewhere floating around in my digital memory bank as well too. I'm in tune. I'm in tune. I got that frequency on fleek. Look, check it. I do remember those guys floating around this statement that he would be your last president. So is this guy trying to say that Trump wants to run a third term? We know that that the tide in mob right now is this JE mob, and this trumpet cat definitely has been blowing his horn alongside Mr. JE. So yeah. No more gang banging until you bring me back the motherfucker head of JE, the real JE, that is. Yeah. We canceling gang banging until we find the real JE. None of you niggas can gang bang no more. Nobody can gang bang no more. It's against the law to gang bang, motherfuckers. Until you bring back the head motherfucking mob boss. We on the raft of a man right now. Bang bang.
Then this justifies him running for a third term. I think he will win by a landslide. I wish Trump would win easily. So you have to ask yourself, why is this happening? Why the Venezuela kidnapping of Maduro? Why the release of Epstein files? If you just look at Trump as a player trying to get a third term and become a long-term leader of the United States, then all this makes sense. Ultimately, his greatest enemy in achieving a third term is not the Democrats. It's the deep state. From his perspective, it was not the Democrats who rigged the 2020 election. It was a certain faction of the deep state financed by CIA drug money that allowed Joe Biden to win. So he needs to attack these people through Maduro, through the Epstein files, through Palantir and Peter Thiel, getting them to dismantle the old deep state and build a new one. Everyone thinks Donald Trump is an idiot. He may be an idiot in terms of writing a speech, but in terms of personality, politics, political manipulation, and controlling optics, I think he's the best in the world. He's a super athlete in terms of political perception management. That's the idea of game theory. For him to be in his position, he needs to be the best at what he does. Ask yourself what he does really well. What are his ambitions, his motivations, his incentives, and what is his optimal strategy? If you look at it that way, then what he's doing makes perfect sense. The greatest shock of the Epstein files is that people recognize the elite are not special. They're not smarter, they're not more moral, they're not more competent. The people in positions of power are there because they were born into those positions. That's something I discovered when I went to Yale. I went expecting some heaven of intellectual brilliance, and it's not. Even the professors were mediocre. The elite are just you and me. The only difference is they have all the power, and power corrupts. I was talking to my wife about why Jeffrey Epstein was doing what he was doing. Her explanation makes the most sense. She grew up in a very powerful organization, and from an early age dealt with powerful people. Powerful people are usually born into privilege. And if you're like that, there's no excitement in your life. There's no challenge. Privilege is boring and numbing. So for them, the greatest challenge is, how do you find excitement? Her explanation is they find it through children. Children can be played with, controlled, manipulated, and abused. Children can also be frightened much more easily. There's a conspiracy theory where the elite draw energy from adrenochrome, which is blood excited by fear. That's a metaphorical statement where, as a powerful person, you see a child in fear and it excites you both sexually and psychologically. That's the only thing that brings them real excitement. Another example is Squid Game. The entire premise of the series is that you have all these rich people who have the most money in the world. They can do whatever they want, but it's all boring. They're looking for excitement, which is why they create the Squid Game. It's just a metaphor for Epstein Island, where these people are bored by everything, bored by their own lives, by the people around them, and by power itself. They've experienced it all. So they're looking for novelty, and that's what children bring. Their quotes also the question of why they're so blatant about it. My wife says it's psychology. You have to have a risk of getting caught. you have to have the risk of being exposed in order for it to be exciting. If it's all hidden and there's no risk, it's not fun anymore. This sounds disturbing, but unfortunately, if you give a certain group of people too much power, this is how they behave. This has been true historically. Look at any society in China, we do the same thing. Don't think Chinese are more superior because of Confucianism or that Indians are superior because of their Vedic tradition. Everyone is the same. Put people in positions of power, excitement, and feeling. They've achieved everything, so they need these sadistic rituals in order to feel alive again. Another thing, not yet in the Epstein files, but I'm sure there are plenty of, are snuff films. That's what they do. Politics was always a show. Let me give an example. George H.W. Bush is in the Epstein files, and the accusation against him is that he was organizing the kinds of orgies we saw depicted in Eyes Wide Shut, along with satanic rituals. And it fits his personality. George H.W. Bush was a deep state operative since he was a teenager. His family is CIA. He went to Andover and was in Skull and Bones at Yale. He really is the secret power that controls America. Iran-Contra. He masterminded that. Interestingly, a key conduit for Iran-Contra drug smuggling was Arkansas. And the governor of Arkansas at that time was Bill Clinton. This is well documented. Bill Clinton and George H.W. Bush were really good friends. People who knew both of them say that George H.W. Bush saw Bill Clinton as a son, much more so than his own son, George W. Bush. He actually saw George W. Bush as a bit of a failure, whereas Clinton was articulate, charming, and had a great future. George H.W. Bush really mentored Clinton. So in 1992, when George H.W. Bush and Bill Clinton were on stage debating, it was a show, George H.W. Bush was perfectly happy to give the presidency to Bill Clinton because he was actually better off in the shadows. Why is it that of all the presidents, we know Obama started his foundation, we know George W. Bush became a painter, but we know nothing about the post-presidential life of George H.W. We can assume he went back to being a spy, a puppet master operating around the world. Bill Clinton was being mentored by George H.W. Bush, and a lot of Clinton's policies were ones George H.W. would have enacted anyway, like NAFTA, most favored nation trading status for China, the neoliberal agenda that was very much part of the Reagan-Bush years, but he had problems implementing them because of pushback from the Democrats. People don't remember this, but the Democrats under Gephardt in the 1980s were a working class party that did not want immigrants, did not want free trade, and did not believe China would be a good trading partner because of China's blatant abuse of human rights. You can say the Democrats have become Republican and the Republicans have become MAGA, but think about the cooperation between George H.W. Bush and Bill Clinton, where George H.W. could not have implemented his policies under a Republican administration. He could do so through a Clinton administration. Then his son wins because of the Supreme Court. Sandra Day O'Connor was the deciding vote, and I'm sure his father made some phone calls. And right after his son wins, 9/11 happens. The only person in the world who could have orchestrated 9/11 was George H.W. Bush, because it was all his people in place. Donald Rumsfeld, Dick Cheney, all of them were his people. And if you look at the Epstein files and the complicated rituals he allegedly organized, he's the sort of person who would want to orchestrate something like 9. Interesting. The candidates were John Kerry for the Democrats and George W. Bush for the Republicans. Guess what? They're both skull and bones. Who leads skull and bones? George H.W. So no matter what would have happened, he would have won. And the policies would have continued. And who comes next? Obama. His family is clearly CIA, which means he's another puppet of George H.W. Bush. It's just one continuous regime, one continuous set of policies. From Ronald Reagan up until Obama, it's one clear overall framework for how global policy should be run. Whenever they ran into stumbling blocks, they found a candidate that could remove those stumbling blocks. Bill Clinton removed the left working class objections. Obama was brought in to neutralize the liberal objections through identity politics. Because remember, identity politics emerged as a response to Occupy Wall Street. In 2008, the entire global elite showed how corrupt and incompetent they were by destroying the global economy. And Occupy was a real movement with a revolutionary tenor to it. Obama was brought in to implement identity politics and diffuse that energy. That's how the system works.
Well, speaking of Epstein there, something I found is fascinating actually.
So, did they rewrite history? Or are they still rewriting history? I'm gonna have to go with both. I got my hand raised. You didn't see my hand raised? I'm gonna have to go with both. I don't believe nothing these motherfuckers in suit and ties and like I said and dressed nice says. You know, I never did. I double don't now. And I ain't double downing or double backing on anything I'm saying. I don't, these people are out here creating an atrocious living quarters for everybody. Let me say that. You know, look at here. I got shit to do tomorrow, and they fucking with my plans. Look at here. Like I said, no more gang banging, no more thuggetry until we take down these cats. What the fuck are y'all doing? What are y'all doing out there? Wake the fuck up. What the fuck is going on here? You okay with your government not being really a government? They're being governed by something. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Yo, we got shit to do tomorrow. One boot on ground at a time till we reach the goddamn deck. Yo, Jay, throw me like 100 mil. I'll shut the fuck up when you're around. When you leave, I'm gonna be talking again. Fuck that, man. You done fucked up a lot of people's lives. You know what I mean? You really have, though. But we so laid back, being too laid back, though. Just know, Jay, we ain't relaxing, bro. Yeah. We ain't relaxing. Hey, what the government gonna do about it? You know what? We don't have no faith in the government. We never did. And again, this is why we shouldn't have had faith in people that don't really know us. You know? Or do you know us? And that's why you're running this game. You know? What should we be asking ourselves? Do you know us or do you not know us? Because if you know us and you're doing this to us, woof, you dirty scoundrel.
AI dolls with Epstein. I mean, go down that rabbit hole a small bit because that's mind blowing for some people.
And heads of industry, he was interacting with a lot of scientists, and I'm sure he was blackmailing them too. But one of the things he was definitely doing was he was financing them. He would give money to a variety of different organizations. He gave money. He gave $30 million to a guy named Martin Nowak at Harvard for him to start an evolutionary biology program, which looked at like game theory on population structures and things like that. And it's like, that sounds like a nice way of saying, let's examine eugenics and depopulation. When you talk about game theory on population, if we do this to this society, it will have what effect? Oh, if we did that, how many people could we eliminate? And all these things. So one of the things that he financed was a guy named Ben Goertzel. And Ben Goertzel is a hardcore AI scientist guy. He started a company called Singularity.net, and he was the co-founder with Hanson Robotics that built the Sophia robot. Now, the Sophia robot was this AI sort of female-looking human robot that had like the back of the head was kind of opened up Terminator style, where you could see all the circuitry and everything. And it was about 2 years ago or so when this was all in the headlines, but Saudi Arabia granted citizenship to Sophia, the AI robot, in some PR stunt and everything. Ironic that they give rights to the AI robot woman, but not the actual women. But that's a different story. So, but they brought this robot out, and it was like, oh, isn't this interesting? It's like an AI doll or an AI robot, millions of dollars probably it cost. And like I said, it was partly a PR stunt. Well, but Ben Gertzel, one of the co-guys that was doing it with David Hansen Robotics, he also has his own thing going on. Epstein gave him $6.5 million to design a little Sophia AI doll that was about 16 inches high. It wasn't going to be this multi-million-dollar doll. It was going to be a much smaller consumer product, targeting for emotional intelligence was the term that they used for girls 8 years and up. So what this doll had in it, you ever see that movie The Game with Michael Douglas and Sean?
Ma, ma, ma. Ma, ma, ma. This boy got his hands on everything, right? I guess if you're controlling the money, creating the digital currency that has not been created yet, way before it was created, creating a whole blockchain setup. I don't care what nobody say. This guy was involved in creating a blockchain setup. Shit, if you're behind AI and working with the mathematicians that created algorithms and shit like that, come on, man. This guy was like Jesus. Jesus. Guy said to push up a button, I could recreate everything. This got this these niggas got the what you call it? That magic paintbrush. We paint the whole narrative overnight on your ass. You know? And some people have really, really dived in and tuned into their channel, which would be okay, which these people would be okay with those guys just painting a whole new narrative tomorrow. By hook or crook, they would definitely back this guy. And you don't even know you're backing him. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's a conversation piece right now. Like I said, this ain't even about the uh minors in the story. This is about this guy creating an atmosphere to tame the world modern day. I mean, to tame the world modern day. Every big event that has been going on, this guy has had his hands somewhere in it. I'm talking about both hands, both feet. Look, I'm jumping on your couch. I'm jumping on your couch. I'm all on your couch. Ass nigga. They're ever so elusive.
Was the Chad in it? You ever see that movie The Game with Michael Douglas and Sean Penn, where they've got that robot clown that they put in the corner that's eyes are actual cameras and it's watching everything? This little Sophia robot doll is like that. Cameras, Wi-Fi, microphone, uh, geofencing, tracking, and it's recording all its interactions with these girls for emotional intelligence. So just for a minute, allow your mind to go to this place where the scientist who's funded by Jeffrey Epstein is creating these interactive dolls that go into the bedroom of some little girl that records what she's saying, watches what she's doing, feeds this information back to some system somewhere, some mainframe, computer that analyzes it. They've got a geo tracker on it so they know where this kid is. What's to stop Jeffrey Epstein from getting together with his sicko friends and placing orders for little kids to go kidnap them later? I mean, there's nothing. You would have all of this information. You could literally open a catalog of kids that you wanted to abduct. Now, if Hasbro or Mattel or Disney, well, maybe Disney's the wrong example, but if one of these toy companies
Let me clear my throat. Look, check it. Look, these ain't even allegations. This guy's actually spending money to create the shit he's talking about. So, look, ain't nobody making up shit. Ain't nobody going down no rabbit hole with this guy, J.E. This guy's in charge of a lot of shit that is running our life right now. When I say is in charge, I mean presently. I'm pretty sure he hears all the chatter about us. I'm pretty sure if Ghislaine Maxwell is not in prison, that's a man in there, this nigga definitely is free as well. Bunny and Clyde ain't on the run. Man, they kicked up having fun. Yeah. No. Really, believe this. If you got enough money to pay off the bankers before anything, hold up, how many bankers have they saved? Huh? How many banks have? Wasn't it a? Wasn't this? Wasn't it a time where they had to save the banks? Wonder where they getting all this money from to always save the banks. I'm talking about recent times where the banks had to be saved. A few different times recently within the 2000s and above. Who's giving these banks the savior money? Now, okay, let's say it. Is it not the Federal Reserve? And who's running the Federal Reserve? You can see who has their hands within the Federal Reserve right now. Let's not make it make no sense. Let's make it make sense. Look here. Look. We're gonna tie it together like a knot. I'm not playing with these. I'm not playing with these people. They ain't playing with us. These people ain't playing with us. These people are not playing with us.
or, or Disney, well, maybe Disney's the wrong example, but if one of these toy could get on board with it, because I could say, well, it's sort of it's the evolution of dolls. I remember Teddy Ruxpin back in the 80s was this doll that talked and everything. And it might just be like, the third generation of that, where it's like, not only does it talk, but it'll listen to you and it can communicate. I could maybe get on board with that. But the fact that Epstein's behind it, you have to ask, what was the plan? What was the plan for this? And that is something that is very real, that is happening. So he was taking money to finance these people, and you wonder what the agenda was. He's working on depopulation. He's tied in with all of these guys.
Man, the files just keep getting.
Yeah, tied like a motherfucking knot in. Huh? Huh? You think your gang something? You think your gang banging until we solve this motherfucking problem? Why the government ain't running the government? I don't give a fuck if we ain't vote for them. We are the original American. I don't give a fuck if we ain't vote for them. And even if you ain't an original American and you don't know what has been happening and you finding out now, yeah. You better squad up with us. Look. Look, it's a team effort. Look, if you find out that your government ain't running they government that you voted in, wait. Your government that you so called went to bat for fucking broke into motherfucking White House and shit. All of this shit. Yo, yo. That's wild. That's wild. This nigga's out here creating robotic dolls and shit for emotional support. Why? This nigga's a therapist from 3,000 miles away or some shit. So, who's to say you still didn't create that motherfucking doll? You wicked motherfucker, you. As I think about it, who's to say you still did not create that motherfucker and that thing is in everybody's house? Man, you better give me 100 million motherfucking dollars. I ain't playing with your little silly ass boy. You know what? My mama told me sometimes you can be too smart for your own goddamn good. I'm pretty sure your mama didn't tell you that, Mr. J. But, you know what? Yo. I'm gonna keep that thought to myself for right now. I bet you can't tap into my brain, you silly motherfucker. I'm gonna keep that thought to myself right now. But you better believe, J. I got my boot on your motherfucking neck. Got garlic in my left pocket. Steak. Bang, 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 bang.
Crazier and crazier, to the point where people can't even believe that the files are real. Part 1. Part 3 didn't get people to look in other directions. Real researchers are picking apart the files and putting it all together. Now, a vivid picture is beginning to emerge. What you're about to see may shock you, but it is crucial for us as the human race to understand. It would seem that the elites are experimenting with tech that they don't want us to know about because, well, they have certain plans for us. It all revolves around what we're going to be talking about today: immortality. I've now spent 2 weeks in 846,000 files, and what came out of it is a pipeline. 5 stages: map the mind, model the brain, preserve it, build a new body, then transfer. What you're about to see may seem like science fiction, but sometimes reality is stranger than fiction.
Bang, bang. Just know we are electromagnetic beings living within this electromagnetic realm. You are an electromagnetic being living within this electromagnetic realm. Know that. So you can be tapped into and you can tap into. You do have an aura. You do have an energy. It's like an energy, like a aurora borealis, which pumps from your SA node. But we're going to talk about it. Let's let him walk around it. Bang, bang.
Do you see a path for Optimus to have consciousness downloaded to it?
You mean human consciousness, or
Yes.
it's not like? But if you say, would you be able to say with a neural link have a snapshot of or at least an approximate snapshot of somebody's mind, and then upload that approximate snapshot to an Optimus body. I think that at some point that technology becomes possible, and it's probably less than 20 years. But of course, you won't quite be the same. Be a little different because you'll be in a robot body, and the mental snapshot will not be precise. It'll be probably pretty close, but not exactly the same. On the other hand, are you the same person that you were 5 years ago? Nope. I mean, a lot of things have changed. But I guess at some point, if you want to be
Is Mr. Elon Musk putting on a concert right now? The boy got the room lit like he had a goddamn Diddy's concert or some shit. I can't give him no other celebrity concert to be at but a Diddy one. I can see Diddy come out there, Diddy bopping on stage in the middle of him talking and shit while he up there. Let me just, let me. I think that shit is an act. I don't think this nigga stutters. There's just some about this cat. Yo, I just think it's definitely an act. He likes to be in front of people. Who likes to be in front of people who has a stutter, who stutters? Most of those people like to stay hid. When you have a problem with stuttering, or you'll try to correct yourself and slow down or something. No, he has the same speed. Is this nigga a robot? But I know he's a character of some sort. I know I got my garlic in my pocket for this night wolf ass nigga as well. All right, so yeah, it's a little bit more background I'm gonna get into, but just talk about him being at this goddamn Diddy concert right now. Talking about, we can take a snapshot of your actual brain and what was going on and put that shit in the robot. The only difference is your ass is a robot. You're not a real human anymore. Sir, the fuck are you talking about, Mr. Musk? What are you talking about? You got your hands in a pretty big pot as well, too, baby J.E. I'm pretty sure you guys are probably the 300 and so that are. Y'all group probably ain't that big yet. Like I said, I'm tying the knot together because yeah. I just told all the gangbangers no more gangbanging. Everybody's cool now. Everybody's about to be cool now. We coming for you, motherfuckers. Yeah, we ain't gangbanging no more. We're looking for the real government that's been running the government. Because we kind of sort of definitely pissed off at this fake government that we voted in. They're supposed to be running shit. We found out you motherfuckers have been running it. Lego. Bang, bang.
Optimus to have consciousness downloaded to it?
You mean immediate, but if you say it down the road, would you be able to say with an approximate snapshot to an Optimus body? I think that at some point that technology becomes possible, and it's probably less than 20 years. But of course, you won't quite be the same. Be a little different because you'll be in a robot body, and the mental snapshot will not be precise. It'll be probably pretty close, but not exactly the same. On the other hand, are you the same person that you were 5 years ago? Nope. I mean, a lot of things have changed. But I guess at some point, if you want to be uploaded to a robot body, my guess is that becomes possible.
That's Elon Musk talking about uploading a mind into a robot body. 20 years, he says. But the thing is, someone was already funding this research. Every single stage of it. The consciousness mapping, the brain scans, the preservation tech, the bodies, and the scientists doing this were all on Jeffrey Epstein's payroll. In this video, I'm going to walk
No. Pineapples, no. Don't do it, no. No. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't Mr. J.E. and his pocket full of friends running into the sunshine, holding hands and shit. Huh. Of course, he would already be in the game of scanning people's brains. Sounds like it's right up his motherfucking alley. Crazy ass motherfucker. Yeah. We already knew. Him and his little pocket of friends and shit. Chasing the sunshine rays and shit. Goofy ass. Yo. But these goofy ass motherfuckers though, they running the world. They're running the world, Craig. They're running the world, Craig. And Craig let them do it. Yo. If we don't catch this motherfucking Pied Piper, yo, look at here, y'all tripping. Some of the best investigators are on the internet. Why the fuck y'all can't find the real Jeffrey Epstein? The motherfucker head about the size of 3 goddamn cinder blocks. Bang, bang.
That's Elon Musk talking about uploading a mind into a robot body. 20 years, he says. But the thing is, someone was already funding this research. Every single stage of it. The consciousness mapping, the brain scans, the preservation tech, the bodies, and the scientists doing this were all on Jeffrey Epstein's payroll. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 53 government-released documents. They lay out a 5-stage pipeline for doing exactly what Musk just described. The researchers had a name for it: cosmic consciousness. He literally had a brain scanner set up in the same Manhattan townhouse where Epstein was trafficking women. And one of the proposals included a line item for, and I'm quoting, sexy android bodies. Let's get started. Look at this email. This was sent by Jeffrey Epstein to Barnaby Marsh. It's a proposal, a research agenda, and it contains 2 items that have never been reported together. Item 1, build a mind reader using de-encryption, new understandings of the brain. Item 2, tissue regeneration, in parentheses, cloning. Hold up, because this is important. A device that can read a human mind, but that device is connected to a process that can clone a human body, all in one document? In part 1, we already discussed Gino Yu, Hong Kong Polytechnic University. He built a 5-stage model for rating how conscious a person is. Stage 1 through stage 5. Kind of like a video game. He mapped out the human soul on a spreadsheet. But what I didn't tell you in part 1 is how deep this actually goes. EFTA 0258131, Gino Yu writes to Epstein. When you offered me the 100K last year, my only request has been to support the Cuba conference when they asked for 25K. $100,000, that was Gino Yu's retainer, and his job wasn't just research, it was recruitment. Gino Yu brought Peter Fenwick to Epstein. He brought Dean Radin. And he brought Stuart Hameroff. He connected Epstein to Chinese parapsychology researchers. He found the people studying things that aren't supposed to exist. And then he set up shop. November 2016, Gino Yu writes to Epstein, I picked up a Vive setup that I hope to install at your place. I will also have a custom EEG rig set up as well. A custom EEG rig? That's the device that reads your brainwaves. And he installed it alongside a virtual reality headset, an HTC Vive, in the small room off the library of Epstein's Manhattan townhouse. So follow me. Now Jeffrey Epstein has a room in his house where you put on a VR headset and he monitors your brainwaves. Keep in mind, this is the same house where he was supposedly trafficking women. And apparently he was scoring people. EFTA 0262461. Gino Yu writes to Epstein about a specific woman. In my model, she is a stage 3.5 or so. Then he lays out the full scale. Stage 1, consensus reality. Stage 2, all in one thing. Stage 3, surrendering to the bigger forces at work. Stage 4, intuition and insight. Stage 5, special abilities in a rounded way. Special abilities? That's where the scale ends? Gino Yu was rating real people on it, measuring how close they were to developing abilities that aren't supposed to exist. EFTA 025677715. And then he proposed a program to Epstein called Polystry.
You could ask me, or I could ask you, or we could ask each other, and we could try to answer at the same time. But what the fuck is this fool doing? What is he up to? Hmm? Now, mind you, this has been. Now, he bought the island in 1998 now. So this means that, you got to construct the island. You got to have running water. You got to bring trees out there to plant. You got to do all this other stuff to this island to make it an island, to make it look like a resort. It's a big ass island to have to manicure that big of a front and backyard. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. So 1998, before this whole brainwave scan thing, fast forward 2016, we in 1998 when he first bought this spot. The nigga didn't buy a house with a garage. The nigga bought an island in 1998. He's got crazy ties. He's been running governments. He's been running governments. Now we're seeing redacted files. Who redacted them? Who's over the FBI? Only the FBI could redact files. So who the fuck is over the FBI? The story ain't that hard to not make a little sense of the stupidity. And why he never close his eyes when he talking? Why he buck his eyes even more wider when he is a character for sure. I don't know where the fuck they found this Patel cash bucket at. I don't. This has got to be the funniest one to me of all of them. That guy's playing a role in Superbad McLovin. Yeah. His name is definitely rolling at the end when the credits roll. This motherfucker's playing a great character. I don't know what they give him before he get out there on stage, or why is he even doing the things he's doing right now? I have no clue. I don't know how many cases you could have solved so far when you part of the case. How you going to arrest yourself? I guess the same way that your boy Trump say, you motherfuckers owe me $10 billion. By hook or crook, you owe me. So, but you running the government. That means that you're also part of part of the body that governs the governed, which they say that they're governing us. So, Mr. Trumpet Man is definitely part of the solo ring up top. Let's just talk about it. Why not? I mean, he's in the files. I mean, I mean, yeah, we know who redacted the files. That's why I guess Mrs. Blundy said, "Hey, check it. Look, the Dow is at 50,000. Did you not? And where was your antennas? The dial is I said that. And where was? Boy, they up there playing a great stage play right now. You know, the standing ovation is definitely overdue for this comedy sketch right now. Yeah, we'll laugh later. We'll laugh later. Yeah.
Rehabilitating 80 stage 3 people who have gifts but cannot support themselves. She is a stage 3.5 or so. Then he lays out the full scale. Stage 1, consensus reality. Stage 2, all in one thing. Stage 3, surrendering to the bigger forces at work. Stage 4, intuition and insight. Stage 5, special abilities in a rounded way. Special abilities? That's where the scale ends? Gino Yu was rating real people on it, measuring how close they were to developing abilities that aren't supposed to exist. EFTA 025677715. And then he proposed a program to Epstein called Polystry for rehabilitating 80 stage 3 people who have gifts but cannot support themselves. 80 people in vulnerable, altered psychological states who they claim to have gifts. So is this a recruitment pipeline for the psychologically fragile? And the consciousness research wasn't informal. It had a team, a budget, and a name. EFTA 024602676. Peter Fenwick emails Epstein, and the subject? Cosmic consciousness. That's what they called it. Then Fenwick lays out the team to Epstein. Light study. Professor Fabio Babyloni for EEG and fMRI brain scanning. Dr. Ioannidis for data analysis in Cyprus. Professor Kevin Moore on autonomic nervous system measurements. And Professor Giuseppe Bersani funding the whole thing from his trust. All to be done at Rome Sapienza University. Then Fenwick writes again. Completed grant application. $441,100. Very good study with controls. Being done in an excellent unit. High quality. So it would seem this isn't a hobby. It looks like a funded scientific program with an international team studying what happens to the brain at the boundary of life and death. And Fenwick's specialty is near-death experiences. What happens to consciousness when the body dies? That's what Epstein was paying him to answer. Fenwick was just the beginning. Let me show you who else was on this roster. EFT.
So this guy's in Rome. These guys are in Rome. These guys are in Rome. These guys are in Rome running this project. When I say reach, inevitable reach, huh? I'm pretty sure this guy got passed down something, him and this crew of how many ever's in this group that he's in, you know, so the real gang. So that's why I say nobody else gang touching they gang. This is the ultimate gang. Gang gang. Tied in. They the real double law. Fuck that. That's just how they tied in. So no other gang can exist until we find out why our government ain't running the government. That must mean that these people got to be running the Federal Reserve play that started in 1913. I mean, when I say tie things together, they tying things together to take over. Shit, nigga, we want a piece of that pie, nigga. Look, look. Nigga, we want a piece of that pie. Yeah, are we taking the whole pie? Yeah. Fuck that. Do what you do. Y'all gonna do what y'all do anyway. Ain't nobody been able to stop you at so far. It don't look like the people in power want to stop you. And look at here. What y'all gonna do? Meal do a barbecue. But goddamn it, I got my charcoal ready. Bang bang. So I just wanted to make sure I say X baby. Are they turning the cross sideways to create the X or some shit? What's going on here? The X mutants. Let's talk about it. What's going down or what's going up? Uh, I'm trying to keep it balanced. That's my motto. Bang bang, balance.
Being done in an excellent unit, high quality. So it would seem this isn't a hobby. It looks like a funded scientific program with an international team studying what happens to the brain at the boundary of life and death. And Fenwick's specialty is near-death experiences, what happens to consciousness when the body dies. That's what Epstein was paying him to answer. Fenwick was just the beginning. Let me show you who else was on this roster. EFTA 02353378, Dr. Jeffrey Martin, a researcher at Stanford who scientifically maps enlightenment states. He calls it persistent non-symbolic experience, PNSE, a clinical term for what monks spend decades trying to achieve. Martin personally invited Epstein to his transformative technology conference. EFTA 01612793, Dean Radin, Director of Research at the Institute of Noetic Sciences, Parapsychology, Telepathy, Precognition. Epstein's Skype logs show an incoming call from Dean Radin, 48 minutes and 32 seconds, April 2nd, 2018. A 48-minute phone call with a parapsychologist. Same day, and I mean the same day as the holy shit spoon email about spoon bending experiments. EFTA 01771437, a program claiming a 73% success rate at engineering enlightenment states. Whoa. So we're not talking about meditation retreats or spiritual workshops. 73% transition rate. They were manufacturing consciousness states like a production line. But you ready to get even crazier? EFTA 02579443. After years of funding this research, years of paying Gino Yu, flying Fenwick around the world, hosting Radin, scanning brains, Epstein writes this: I've seen no one with special abilities. Not one. Wait, what? Nobody had psychic powers? Nobody could bend spoons? Nobody could read minds? So he was testing this. But wait, he kept paying. So why would you keep funding a program that produces zero results? Because Gino Yu told him it was working on someone specific. In the same email chain, after Epstein says not one, Gino Yu responds, one of the ideas we have for research and application is to get people with special abilities that can also train and mentor from all around the world to support those that are coming into their own, like Masha. Masha Jerkova, the subject of Putin's Kiss, the documentary about Russia's youth propaganda movement. She's mentioned a lot in the archive. and it would seem that she was a test subject. Gino Yu said she was coming into her own, developing abilities. And the plan was to
Yeah. Push my Putin. Come on to the goddamn table. Push my Putin. Come on, come on to the motherfucking Last Supper, motherfucker. Come on to the Last Supper. Yeah. Who is Brute? Who's gonna be Ed 2 Brute? Or should I say Judas? Yo, this story couldn't get even funnier, could it? Push mouth Putin. Come on to the Last Supper. Eh, looked like you were cordially invited anyway. You and one of your little ones. So, 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 inevitable reach. J.E. Hands, pot, feet, pot. I'm jumping up and down on the couch. Jumping on the couch. Got my feet on the couch. Face ass boy. Bang. Come on to the supper. Come on to the Last Supper.
told him it was working on someone specific. In the same email chain, after Epstein says, not one, Gino Yu responds. One of the ideas we have for research and application is to get people with special abilities that can also train and mentor from all around the world to support those that are coming into their own, like Masha. Masha Jerkova, the subject of Putin's Kiss, the documentary about Russia's youth propaganda movement. She's mentioned a lot in the archive, and it would seem that she was a test subject. Gino Yu said she was coming into her own, developing abilities, and the plan was to surround her with mentors who already had them. Nobody had proven abilities, but the program to develop them was still running. EFTA 02657514, February 2017. Gino Yu emails Epstein about Jeff Bezos. Authors gather at Jeff Bezos' super secret campfire event. I hear he gets people with special abilities at these events. Whoa, what? So Bezos had his own program? It's the same language, special abilities.
Let me clear my throat. Look, hey man, check it. Bezos, bring your ass to the Last Supper too. And look, we about to add to that 12 count, huh? Will we be at 12 once the count finishes? I don't know. I know we not running out of seats yet. At two Brute, face ass boy over here, Mr. Musk, come on in here. You know you was already at the table. Oh, Mr. Steele, come on, Mr. Steele. And we ain't talking the color Steele. Bring your motherfucking ass on up in here and sit down. Sit your punk ass down. Yeah, the Last Supper is getting full up in here, huh? Mystery maze on site too. You don't know who they are and what the fuck you gonna get served, huh? Leg up.
And it's the same format, invite-only events with these hand-picked people. And Gino Yu was reporting this to Epstein like he's a scout, almost like he's his intelligence. Okay, but now let's talk about Chopra. Chopra sent Epstein everything. aura measurement apps, biofield science papers, virtual reality meditation experiences. EFTA 01784162, August 2016. Chopra sends Epstein a Guardian article about meditation in virtual reality. Quote, "It's like French philosophy meets the Matrix."
Set your dumb ass up, Trooper, but come on into the Last Supper as well. Cordially invited as well, I see. Roll out the red fucking carpet for his ass, too. Yeah. Come on up in here. Come on to the Last Supper. You fish-eyed fool, you. Lego. Come on, Chupa Cobra. Bring your ass on up in here. Yeah. So far, you got 3 different cats at the top of their own food chain, it looks like, but they're all in tandem somehow, huh? We got Bezos. We got Mr. Capra, whatever the fuck his name is. Don't even matter. Doesn't matter. Don't even matter. Honestly. And then we got you already know, Mr. J himself. And we ain't talking about the ones from Atlanta. That nigga's not from Atlanta. That is not Atlanta, nigga. We just talking J.E., Mr. Mysterious himself. Ghost right now. Definitely beating. Heart beating for sure. Definitely pumping around somewhere. Check it. So we got a few cats out here doing some brain games, trying to figure out how to get these people X Games type powers and shit. Hopefully, did you see any of them start growing wings or anything yet? No. Look, J.E. like, look, man, I ain't seen nobody with no powers, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't know what the fuck you doing with that money I've been giving you, but ain't nobody levitated, ain't nobody ran faster than I can run yet, fool. Nah, so I don't know what the fuck you doing. Yeah, no. Look, J.E., look, man, one of our girls over there, Putin over there with her, man. He got her under his arm, trying to check and see if she come up with some. She's supposed to be like the ice princess and shit. Seeing if she can freeze shit, like freeze water, like just oh my. Bitch ain't did nothing. He over there lying. I'm like, yeah, man, she could man, she doing things, man. What's she doing? Jay said, man, what's she doing? I can, you know what she was, man. You ain't gonna believe what she did, Jay. What she do, bro? Man, you ain't gonna believe that. Hey, did yeah. Jay, like, man, I don't believe you, man. Show proof, man. What she did to my Bezos guy. I think this is code word for something. That's what I think. Yeah, I think this is definitely code word for these guys are all running a certain ring of some shit, and this whole brain, put some on your brain to read your waves to see if you got superpowers. First off, you got to be injecting her with something or him or her to say that they're gonna get superpowers. How else will you be administering this regimen to at the end of this scientific run or on their brain? How else are you trying to give them superpowers? You would have to inject something into them, or you would have had something. You've created something that can mate and then create something. What do you mean? Yeah. I'm just trying to tie the knot. Shit, I can't be walking around with my shoes untied and shit. I'm trying to tie the knot. I'm trying to walk balance. I'm trying to tie the knot. Why not? Shit, I got shit to do tomorrow. In the words of the great D Nice. Bang, bang.
So it would seem that Chopra was feeding Epstein the technology side of consciousness. And then there's this. Epstein asked Deepak Chopra, a consciousness researcher, whether anesthetics can affect consciousness and the mechanism. Chopra responds with the pharmacology, then asks, "Why do you ask?" Why was Jeffrey Epstein asking a consciousness researcher about lethal anesthesia? I don't have the answer, but I have this document. Chopra and Epstein were building a research pipeline. EFTA 023930017. Chopra forwards Epstein a thread about savant syndrome and non-local mind from Daryl Treffert, the world's top savant researcher. 300 documented cases, and in this chain, Dr. Diane Hennessy Powell, a researcher who studies telepathy in autistic children, and Paul Mills from UCSD, who attended a Salk Institute conference on extraordinary variations of the human mind. Epstein's response, "I'll fund the assistant, no help needed." So he funded a telepathy study on children with autism through Chopra's network. Yosha Bach, the AI researcher, he's almost in the file more than
I'm gonna tell you right now, this guy's definitely still selling cells. I tell you, no tell. You won't find that nigga at nobody's world. He's definitely on land. Telling motels. Shit. I'll tell you right now. If you thought this was Paquito, a small, minuscule. No. Blow it up. Blow it up. Enhance. Make it enormous. This is major.
anyone else. He's the man Epstein turned to when he wanted to understand what consciousness actually is, in mathematical terms. Bach developed a concept he called mobjects, mathematical objects that describe consciousness as computation. He proposed that the brain is a machine, and consciousness is the software running on it. So, the implication is, if consciousness is software, it can be copied. Over $1 million confirmed, $300,000 for a visa arrangement, $382,000 through the enhanced entity in 2016, $125,000 in 2018. Flights, housing, MIT salary supplements. Again, this wasn't a hobby. Epstein was Bach's primary patron. And let's not forget the whole secret society email with Bach's group. We talked about this in part 2, but now you have the context. Psychedelic retreats for select individuals? You may have thought it was the billionaires who wanted to take the psychedelics. But no, we're talking about physiological experiments, a private intelligence agency, a cryptographically secure social network, and then, direct quote from Michelle Riley, high-profile island you-know-what also independently come to mind. But I have a strong suspicion that you may already have that covered. Do you get it now? They knew. The inner circle was joking about it. Okay, but a theory isn't enough. You need a map of the actual hardware. EFTA 02375911. A meeting. Ed Boyden, MIT neuroscientist, inventor of expansion microscopy, the man building an atlas of brain computations. Next to him, Whitfield Diffie, the godfather of public key cryptography, in Martin.
Power. Real power comes with money. You can have power without money, but true power comes with money. Inevitable reach. We got Ghost, Sinner, Fold. Now it's a crowd at the Last Supper, if you ask me. There's definitely more than 12 seats needed at this choir event. Yeah. But believe me when I say these people are singing in unison.
The software running on it. So, this is software. It can be copied. Over $1 million confirmed. $300,000 for a visa arrangement. $382,000 through the enhanced entity in 2016. $125,000 in 2018. Flights, housing, MIT salary supplements. Again, this wasn't a hobby. Epstein was Bach's primary patron. And let's not forget the whole secret society email with Bach's group. We talked about this in part 2, but now you have the context. Psychedelic retreats for select individuals? You may have thought it was the billionaires who wanted to take the psychedelics, but no. We're talking about physiological experiments, a private intelligence agency, a cryptographically secure social network, and then, direct quote from Michelle Riley, high-profile island you-know-what also independently come to mind, but I have a strong suspicion that you may already have that covered. Do you get it now? They knew. The inner circle was joking about it. Okay, but a theory isn't enough. You need a map of the actual hardware. EFTA 02375911. A meeting. Ed Boyden, MIT neuroscientist, inventor of expansion microscopy, the man building an atlas of brain computations. Next to him, Whitfield Diffie, the godfather of public key cryptography, and Martin Novak. Okay, so a brain mapper, a code breaker, and an evolution theorist in the same room at Epstein's request. Why would you need a cryptographer at a brain mapping meeting unless you're trying to decode something? Boyden, quote, a single neuron can flip the state of the whole brain, end quote. So one cell, one switch, and consciousness shifts entirely. EFTA 02357394, Boyden again. This time with Sebastian Sung and Neil Gershenfeld. So they're invited to Epstein's island, and the subject of the meeting? Deception. The world's top brain mappers on a private island discussing deception. Sebastian Sung wrote a book called Connect to Me. The thesis? You are your connect to me. Your identity, your memories, your personality, your consciousness is encoded in the wiring pattern of your neurons. Map every connection, and you've mapped the person. EFTA 01880316. And here's where it gets a little uncomfortable. The person who recommended Connect to Me to Epstein, Jean-Luc Brunel. The trafficking associate, the man later found dead in his Paris jail cell. He's the one who told Epstein to read the book about mapping human consciousness through neural wiring. A trafficker recommending a neuroscience book to a PDF. I'll let you sit with that. And this wasn't happening in a vacuum. Silicon Valley was in the room. EFTA 01789503, Reid Hoffman, LinkedIn founder, emails Epstein and Mark Zuckerberg together. Quote, Jeffrey, Zuck, email connections from the Ed Boyden dinner so that the combo can continue. Wait, so let me get this straight. Reid Hoffman introduced Mark Zuckerberg to Jeffrey Epstein. And the reason? A dinner about neuroscience hosted by Ed Boyden, the brain mapper. This wasn't just a billionaire party. This was a working meeting about the brain. and Hoffman wanted Zuckerberg and Epstein to keep talking about it. Take note about that for later. Same, Reid Hoffman, same year. EFTA 017888970. The subject line, Skype about deception. So what's up with this deception stuff? Recipients, Hoffman, Joy Ito, Kevin Slavin, and Epstein. Hoffman responds, generally around this week and next, interested. Reid Hoffman, Joy Ito from MIT Media Lab, and Jeffrey Epstein organizing a group call to discuss deception. That's a pattern. And then someone in Epstein's circle, text, very intrigued by Neuralink. Did like Chopra at the beginning, but have grown disappointed with him. AI fascinates me. So, Neuralink, Chopra, and AI, all in one message. The brain-computer interface, the consciousness researcher, and the machine intelligence. It all connects to Epstein. Stage 3 of the pipeline. Once you understand consciousness and you've modeled the brain,
Mr. J.E. himself. The boogeyman that never said boo. The one person you will not beat at this game is the original American. That's guaranteed with a capital G. Capital D for the last ending letter. You goddamn right. Leg up.
Reid Epstein organizing a group call to discuss deception. That's a pattern. And then someone in Epstein's circle, text, very intrigued by Neuralink. Did like Chopra at the beginning, but have grown disappointed with him. AI fascinates me. So, Neuralink, Chopra, and AI, all in one message. The brain-computer interface, the consciousness researcher, and the machine intelligence. It all connects to Epstein. Stage 3 of the pipeline. Once you understand consciousness and you've modeled the brain, you need to preserve it because eventually the body dies. Listen closely. There's a company called Nectome. Their technology is chemical brain preservation. They pump a solution through your brain that fixes every neural connection in place permanently. The idea is that someday, someone could scan that preserved brain and extract the connectomy, the wiring diagram of who you were. And Jeffrey Epstein was tracking them. EFTA 02506384, March 2018. Epstein reaches out to Yosha Bach about brain preservation options. He wants to know what's the state of the art, what works, and what doesn't. EFTA 02470197. Bach meets Nectome's CEO, Robert McIntyre, and in person, and reports this back to Epstein. He sent Bach as a scout. Meet the CEO, evaluate the technology, report back. EFTA 02508072. And in the discussion about Nectome, someone writes, Sam Altman has signed up as far as I know. As always, chances that the current plan for restoring memory from connecting me works one day are quite close to nothing but absolute zero. Structure might be better preserved issue gone. So, Sam Altman, the man who would go on to run OpenAI, signed up for brain preservation through Nectome? And this is being discussed in Epstein's documents alongside connect-to-me analysis and cryonics comparisons? But Nectome wasn't the only option. There was also Alcor. EFTA 02454349. Marvin Minsky, the father of artificial intelligence, MIT legend, had a cryonics contract with Alcor. His brain was to be preserved after death. And the man running Alcor? Max Moore. Here's a quote from the archive. Max Moore, CEO of Alcor, the leading cryonics firm, and before that, arguably the founding philosopher of transhumanism. Now, this detail has been reported before, but I want you to hear it in this context. The New York Times citing a source in the archive. Mr. Epstein told this person that he wanted his head and private parts to be frozen. His head, where the brain is, and his reproductive organs. The two to preserve if your goal was to is a reference to Frank Tipler's The Physics of Immortality, a book that argues physics allows for digital resurrection, that the laws of the universe permit bringing consciousness back from the dead. This obviously wasn't just casual reading. All right, so map the mind, model the brain, preserve it after death. That's 3 stages. But a preserved brain in a jar doesn't do anything. You need somewhere to put it. Now let me show you what the body was for. If you saw part 1, you know George Church, Harvard geneticist, gene editing, CRISPR. But there's a detail from part 1 that becomes much darker now. EFTA 02546529, November 18th, 2011. George Church is corresponding about a cloning-related event. He's cautious. He knows the risk. And Epstein was getting cloning updates from Richard Merkin, CEO of Heritage Provider Network. And these were regular updates on cloning progress. In part 1, this looked like eugenics, like he wanted to breed a certain kind of human.
It's definitely still eugenics. It's digital now. Digital now. That boy scratching the record on our ass. No longer am I trying to create a certain race of blood flowing beings. No. Trying to digitally create a humanoid, transhumanoid, the perfect hermaphrodite, so to speak, with superpowers. Or recreate yourself if you got enough money. What is it? Pretty much put a disc in the back of your neck and wake up in a different sleeve. Sounds like a Netflix sitcom or series. I can't think of the name of that particular show, but there is a show on Netflix where you put this disc in the back of your neck. You can be in a different sleeve and shit. The sleeve is the human epidermis. Let's just say these people got enough money to play around with whatever they want to play around with, and sure, they playing around with it. So you want to be a mouse in the lab?
From Richard Merkin, CEO of Heritage Provider Network. And these were regular updates on cloning progress. In part 1, this looked like eugenics, like he wanted to breed a certain kind of human. Now, it looks like step 4 of the pipeline. Build a compatible vessel. In part 2, we talked about David Hansen, the creator of Sophia, the world's most famous humanoid robot. Sophia. What I told you in part 2 is that Hansen is a member of the OTO. Aleister Crowley's occult order. A man building human-looking robots while belonging to a sex magic society. EFTA 02229729, Hansen Robotics. Direct Skype calls with Jeffrey Epstein. Multiple conversations. About what? Building humanoid bodies. But it doesn't stop there. EFTA 027258575, the proposal, we talked about this, Genie Lab, $3 million. And the pitch includes, and I need you to hear this, sexy android bodies. Sexy android bodies with mind uploading in a $3 million proposal connected to Epstein's network. A lab that would build attractive humanoid bodies and upload minds into them. And the scientists that would make it work were already in the network. Randall Conan. In the archive, he says, the leading serious scientific exponent of mind uploading. He runs Carbon Copies, the foundation for substrate-independent minds. The idea that a mind doesn't need a biological
Altered Carbon. Bang, bang. That's the name of that series on Netflix. Had to think about it. And they just mentioned the word carbon. So the name of the series on Netflix is called Altered Carbon. Ironically, phew, you can't even make this shit up even if you wanted to, or even if I wanted to, since I'm the one talking. I couldn't even make it up even if I wanted to. The series is called Altered Carbon on Netflix, for sure. I'm positive. So, now there's some other robotics has happened since these meetings. So, don't forget the soccer playing robot during Obama's time as well, too. These same people had something to do with that as well, too. So, they've been progressing this entire time to make a digital humanoid. So, while at the same time they were trying to make the perfect hermaphrodite. So, they have been up to some things. I ain't saying that everybody is involved, but I can tell you right now, the government ain't trying to stop any of this. Tell you that right now. So it's on the people. So is the power really in the people's hand? And we've been paying the government to do what? Stand by and be professional lookers? Huh? Right now we got this Last Supper right now, fully packed. God damn. I mean, a full-blown choir. Sheesh.
mind uploading in a $3 million proposal connected to Epstein's network. A lab that would build attractive humanoid bodies and upload minds into them. And the scientists that would make it work were already in the network. Randall Conan. In the archive, he says, the leading serious scientific exponent of mind uploading. He runs Carbon Copies, the foundation for substrate-independent minds. The idea that a mind doesn't need a biological brain, it can run on anything. In the same document, Luke Nosek, PayPal Mafia, Peter Thiel's co-founder at Founders Fund, and Dmitry Itzkov's 2045 initiative, premised on launching the singularity from Russia by 2045. These aren't just fringe characters, these are billionaires and venture capitalists funding the technological architecture for moving a mind from one body to another. But what's even crazier is, maybe you don't need a robot. Maybe you build a better biological body. EFTA 02003049. Epstein writes, evolution, luck, chance. Evolution's not growth. One needs mutation, change to function. Directed evolution. Directed evolution, not natural selection, not random chance. She won the Nobel Prize in 2018 for the directed directed evolution of
As we already know, evolution is a theory. It's called the theory of evolution, like theory of gravity, out of Africa theory. I mean, the theories are endless when it comes to these scientific stories, I would say, or narratives that we've been told. These are all theories that have not been proven. So, and again, here you have Mr. J.E. himself, head of the goddamn Last Supper right now, leading the tenor section. Yeah, in the solo mic check moment right now. Let's find out what the fuck he up to right now, silly ass boy.
enzymes. She offered to teach Epstein was interested, but not in microbes. EFTA 017-85366. And then there's this line. Virtual womb for all those preemies we are breeding. Preemies we are breeding. Virtual wombs. He's telling you. This is the body side of the pipeline. Breed better humans, grow them in artificial wombs, direct the evolution, build the vessel.
Hey, y'all can't see my motherfucking hands, but right now we time out on all the gangster shit on earth, my aboriginal people. We got shit to do tomorrow. Like, look at here. There's nothing wrong with creating life if it's done with the right paintbrush. But these some evil doers. These some real evil doers on this shit though. No more gang banging. No, you niggas not real gangsters. These niggas is above you. That means you on the same level as us, nigga. We trying to find him to put a boot on his neck. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're watching us on this fucking internet. He had his hands in it. Feet too. Oh, damn. I'm jumping on your couch. I'm jumping on your couch. I got my feet on your couch. I'm jumping on your couch. Face ass boy.
Not natural selection, not random chance, guided. Frances Arnold, Caltech, she won the Nobel Prize in 2018 for the directed evolution of enzymes in microbes. Epstein was interested, but not in microbes. EFTA 017-85366. And then there's this line. Virtual womb for all those preemies we are breeding. Preemies we are breeding. Virtual wombs. He's telling you. This is the body side of the pipeline. Breed better humans, grow them in artificial wombs, direct the evolution, build the vessel. Part 1 was about genetics, but now you see why. The genetics weren't a separate project. They were stage 4. And nobody. How do savants know things they never learned? My explanation is genetic memory, the genetic transmission of knowledge. Genetic memory, the idea that knowledge, consciousness itself, can be passed through DNA, not taught or learned, inherited. If that's true, then consciousness isn't just software running on the brain. It's encoded in the genes. And if it's in the genes, you can breed for it, edit for it, select for it. Part 1 was genetics. This is consciousness. And Epstein believed they were the same thing. Chopra's response to this email makes it even darker. In the same thread, same EFTA, Chopra pushes back with a detail that changes everything. He tells Epstein about an acquired savant with an entirely different skill post-injury. Acquired savants, people who suffer brain injuries, car accidents, strokes, trauma, and wake up with abilities they never had before. Perfect musical pitch, calendar calculation, photographic memory, skills that appear from nowhere after the brain is damaged. If trauma can unlock abilities that were always encoded in the brain, abilities you never learned, abilities that might come from genetic memory, then Epstein's experiments on women take on a different dimension. Was he testing whether psychological trauma could trigger altered states of consciousness? Whether breaking someone's normal awareness could unlock something underneath? I mean, he was measuring belief thresholds with 200 women. He was funding research on savant telepathy in children with neurological differences. And now Chopra is telling him that brain damage creates savants? What if the trauma wasn't a side effect of the Deepak Chopra was pushing the same idea, but from the other direction. Chopra's book, Super Genes, argues that the evolution of species is the evolution of consciousness. That genes don't just build bodies, they build awareness. EFTA 02045681, Epstein and Chopra visiting the Alchemist Kitchen together, an apothecary in Manhattan. Plant medicine, consciousness expansion, alchemy, they were practicing this kind of stuff. And then there's this conference, EFTA 02397964, a session titled Gene Editing in Consciousness. Whoa, a conference on gene editing in consciousness connected to Epstein's network. That's the bridge. The genetics program from part 1 and the consciousness program from part 3 meet in one room. And the thesis is, edit the genes, edit the mind. But let's talk about this Dmitry Itskov. Russian tech billionaire, founder of the 2045 Initiative, and his public mission is to achieve human immortality through mind uploading by the year 2045. EFTA 0207838, May 2015. Itskov and Gino Yu, Epstein's consciousness recruiter, are arranging to meet in New York. They already know each other, both in Epstein's orbit, the mind-uploading billionaire and the consciousness stage mapper connecting through Epstein. The same month, Epstein writes to Itskov, I spent the weekend with Chomsky at my house. Great, strong views, but clever. Noam Chomsky, the most cited intellectual of the 20th century, and in the same thread, Itskov mentions meeting a Buddhist monk who works for MIT and is interested in AI. We discussed possible AI self-awareness. Then, Epstein sends Itskov a link to Rupert Sheldrake's online telepathy test. So Jeffrey Epstein sends the mind-uploading billionaire a telepathy experiment. Sheldrake's morphic resonance, the idea that consciousness extends beyond the brain, that minds can connect at a distance. This is another bridge. Mind uploading meets telepathy meets AI self-awareness meets genetic memory in one email chain. In part 2, I showed you the occult library. Now you might have thought that that was separate from the science, but it's not. Epstein didn't see a difference. To him, Newton was an alchemist and a physicist. Consciousness was a genetic trait and a mystical state. The soul was dark matter and something you could upload. Okay, but everything that I've shown you so far, the brain mappers, the AI theorists, the VR rigs, the cryonics evaluations, all of it sounds like cutting edge research, and you maybe could argue that it's noble. But now let me show you who the test subjects were. EFTA 024028848, David Savage asked Epstein, you did an experiment with 200 girls where you held their hands and rating them? And Epstein responds, I did this with 200 girls. Each one had to rate the accuracy of diagnosis on a scale of 1 to 10. The written diagnosis was exactly the same for each. What? 200 girls given the same fake reading, and he's measuring how many of them believed it. EFTA 024534747. Then Epstein designs another round for Savage. 10 women, you will need to touch each one. And his takeaway from all of this? Believing is more fun. But he's not debunking anything. He was measuring who could be made to believe and how fast. 200 women, the same fake reading, and scoring their conviction. But why touch? Well, because a neuroscientist told him that it works. EFTA 021923005, Peter Finwick, the same man running the Cosmic Consciousness program, tells Epstein that touch activates their hormonal system and that dominance hierarchy matters. So the science wasn't separate from the exploitation. Okay, but the women knew. Listen to what they wrote. EFTA 027-21399. A woman writes to Epstein, "You described me as a failed experiment. I didn't know that I was a part of one. Am I an unsuspecting Galatea or a pawn in your dealings with Leon? Am I an unsuspecting Galatea? Galatea from Greek mythology. Pygmalion sculpts the perfect woman and brings her to life. So this woman is asking Epstein, am I one of your unsuspecting creations that you sculpted and brought to life?" EFTA 018626162. Another email about a different woman. Quote, "For me, it's a great experience taking a girl who hadn't been with a guy until she was 23 and then getting her to this point. She is sufficiently confused, and I think you can get some mileage out of this." What? She is sufficiently confused. You can get some mileage. A great experiment. Now, with this context, he's using the same word for the woman that he used for the consciousness research. Experiment. We have to consider whether they were a part of the same program. These spiritual practices and ideas weren't separate from the exploitation. They were the same delivery mechanism. EFTA 017436615. A message about Kundalini yoga class. Meet me at class 9:30. So many hot girls promise. Abundant at a Kundalini class. And then there are the meeting notes. EFTA 020457779. Action items from Epstein's meeting. Design fun experiments, e.g. mice on DMT and environmental medicine meme. Mice on DMT? That was the brainstorming idea at Epstein's meeting? Design a fun experiment, psychedelics on animals, and create a meme around environmental medicine. So that's the brand for their research? EFTA 022714445, January 2019, 6 months before his arrest. You writes to Epstein. "I will also have a shaman with me, as well as a psychonaut that grows as a recruiter, coordinated in the same email chain as Yushabat." EFTA 026765253. We talked about this in part 2. Sacred Space, New York. An invoice to Epstein. 50 digital urban detox solution massage rituals. Digital. At $200 each. Total $10,000. Pre-purchased in bulk through JP Morgan Chase. Massage rituals, digital urban detox. It's basically consciousness language wrapped around a $10,000 massage invoice. EFTA 020456162, August 2016. Bebe Avdio, an assistant working out of Darren Indike's law office, confirms to Epstein 4 girls in total, and they are all 17. 2016, post-conviction, after the plea deal, after the sex offender registration. 4 girls, all 17, confirmed from the lawyer's office. But the reason I bring this up is because the consciousness experiments, the brain mapping, the VR rigs, the meditation apps, the enlightenment programs, all of this was running at the same time as this. EFTA 0003781. A girl tried to swim off the island. The bodyguard confirmed it. She tried to swim. In his assessment, her attempt showed no greater level of distress than he'd seen in other girls throughout the years. So he's seen this before. Other girls trying to escape the island. And the bodyguard himself told investigators he was frightened by Epstein. Apparently all the workers signed $1 million NDAs, and they're petrified to talk. So 5 stages. Map the consciousness. Gino Yu, Fenwick, Radin, Martin, Chopra. Understand what it is. Then, model the brain. Yo Shabak, Ed Boyden, Sebastian Song. Describe it mathematically. Then, preserve the brain. Nectome, Alcor, cryonics. Keep it after death. Next, you build a new body. George Church, David Hansen, Genie Lab, directed evolution. Create a vessel. Then, the transfer. The mind reader device. Read the mind, clone the body, upload. And at every single stage, the research ran in parallel with this exploitation. The brain scanner was in the same house as the trafficking. The consciousness researcher and the massage therapist use a scientific term and a word for woman. So we have to question whether he separated the two. And look, you might think this is crazy, you might think this is all nonsense. But here's the thing. This technology is happening right now. Everyone knows Elon is building the brain chip. And it would seem that their excuse is obviously to help the disabled. But listen to what he told shareholders. He thinks uploading a mind into a robot body is less than 20 years away. You think they're going to tell us the truth? And then there's an EFTA in the archive where someone in Epstein's circle writes, and quote, very intrigued by Neuralink. I wonder if there's a connection. But get this. Remember how I told you to take a note earlier? Just last week, Meta was granted a patent. And the actual patent is for training an AI on everything you've ever posted, every comment, every DM, every voice message, so that it can simulate you after you die. The AI takes over your account. Epstein was funding the research, and now the tech companies are filing the patents. And let's finish off with this document. Epstein writing about someone who died. Socrates proves the immortality of the soul. I see her soul, very young, full of energy, getting ready to leave. I see people surrounded by their soul. So he believed in the soul. He obviously was spiritual to a certain degree. He believed he could survive the body. And he spent millions of dollars and over a decade trying to prove it. Whether he succeeded or not isn't the point. The point is the pipeline existed, the funding existed, the scientists existed, and the test subjects existed. All the documents have EFTA numbers and you can verify them for yourself. Part 1 was what Epstein was building. The genetics, the baby farms, the egg doctor. Part 2 was the secret societies, the occult, and the control system. Part 3 is the consciousness pipeline, mapping it, modeling it, preserving it, and building new bodies for it. But we're not done. There's more in these documents that still has not been shown yet. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss part 4. And keep dropping those EFTA numbers in the comments. I really appreciate all the help. Thanks for watching, and all we can hope is that our minds may be unveiled.